Hey y'all, hope you're having a great Saturday. It is in the 20s here at night right now in Zone 7B in West Tennessee. We've had another cold spell after what was started out to be a really beautiful March. Unseasonably warm has now turned into freezing temperatures, and we're going to have more freezing temps over the next few nights, and hopefully that will turn us the corner to warmer weather here to stay, but we're just not sure at this point. We know we've got a lot of plants that we're not sure if they've made it through the last few nights, but we're just gonna have to see. Today, I have got my rosemary that I had clipped or cut some cuttings from back in probably October or November. If you remember, I'll link a video below where in December during Christmas, we had a huge freeze here that dropped significantly overnight and stayed under freezing for a few days. And my rosemary, like I said, it's nearing the end of March, still does not have any signs of life on it, so I'm not sure if that plant's going to come back. But luckily, we have some cuttings that we're going to pot today. Okay, this is the same rosemary that I showed you a couple of months ago in one of the very first videos that I did. I told you that I had it just in a fruit jar, some cuttings, and some of them had rooted and some hadn't. The ones that did not root died, and it was very obvious they had not rooted. These, as you can see though, they have rooted. You can see the roots there on the bottom. And that is the ones, or those are the ones that I'm going to actually be potting up today. They're putting on new growth already, and I could cut these so they'll branch out, but I'm going to let them root just as they are, or actually get a little bit stronger roots before I start cutting them back any. So that's what we're going to be potting up today in some pots and getting them out of this water. Okay, I want to show you real quick before I start planting what I'm talking about when I say some of them died. If you can see here in this container, I had just changed the water in these last week. You can see the ones clearly that have not survived. This one looked like it had started rooting, but it has gone ahead and died. But I'm going to go ahead and stick it if it has a root. This one here has roots. This one does not. Yeah, it does. I'm going to root all of these, or I'm going to stick all of these in soil and see how they do. But if they had died like this one and had not had any roots on it, I'd probably just toss those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these containers, and I'm going to put probably 5 or 6 cuttings or rooted cuttings in each container. And this is just our pine bark mulch and soil conditioner mixture that we typically use for any of our new potting or new plants. Now this one here is still green, but it does not have any roots on it. But you know what? I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt because it's still green, and I'm going to stick it. I'm not going to put any rooting hormone on it. Probably should, but I'm not going to. And I'm just going to, this one doesn't have any roots either. I'm gonna go ahead and stick it. You know, if they're green, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. This one has roots, but the roots are way up here, not down here at the bottom of the stem. So I wanna make sure that I get it down deep enough for those roots to go in the soil. And I'm just gonna keep on until I get, like I said, 5 or 6, maybe 7 or 8 in a pot here, and then I'll add a little bit more of the soil on top of it. This one's got quite a nice root growth on the bottom of it. And as I said earlier, I think these have probably been in water since, I'm gonna say it was probably October that I took these cuttings. And this is off my bush that had gotten you know, it was quite large, probably 3 foot tall, and maybe, oh gosh, probably 6 foot wide. It was huge. We'd had it here for several years, and I just think that freeze was too much for it. I've not cut it back. I've heard people tell me that, oh yeah, it's dead, it's not coming back, but I'm just not willing to give up on it yet. Now this container These roots look much healthier than the last one. There's no brown on any of these cuttings. They all are nice and white roots. So I feel really good about these, and I'm actually gonna put them in a container that's separate. I don't wanna mix them in. I'm gonna go ahead and pot all these up. So we have wound up with 4 pots out of the 3 fruit jars full, and again, this one here probably had some of the better roots, and I just put three cuttings in it, or 3 rooted cuttings in it, and kind of, once I got them in the soil, kind of pressed down around them. And I'm going to give them a couple of weeks to kind of get acclimated to being in soil, because they have been in just water for several months now, and see how they do. And then I'll come back and you can cut the top side of these, and wherever you cut, then they're going to branch out. But I'm okay with these 3 staying in here. If this were to become more of a bush, then it would have 3 main stems. But if these start doing well, some of these others, I'm not really sure if they're gonna make it or not. Although they had roots, they're looking kind of puny. But I just knew that it was time to get them out of that water and see if they're going to survive or not. Before I actually left you today, I wanted to show you again this rosemary bush that I had, and you can see again it is March here, the end of March, and there is no green on it. But as I was saying, if you can still feel and smell the oils in it. The branches are still pliable somewhat, but there is no sign of life at all as far as leaves. But I'm just not willing to give up on it yet. I think I might could cut it back and see if something comes from the base. As you can tell, I have purposely left all these leaves inside the bush here down at the base of it. There's a, I don't know if you can see this, let me point to it. Right there is a succulent that's coming up in the back, but nothing on the rosemary yet. So at this point, I'm really thankful that I did take the cuttings last year to try and propagate some new plants, just to have something from this original. But yeah, I'll kind of keep you all posted if something happens. I may give it to, I don't know, mid-April, after our last frost in our area is supposedly around April 15th. So I'll give it until then and see if there's any signs of life, and if not, probably by that point I will cut it back to the ground, and hopefully some of the roots are still alive and something will come back from the plant. Thank you all and have a blessed day.